Jeremiah 37:16 through the 17th verse. And I'm going to read from the Amplified. When Jeremiah had come into the cell in the dungeon and had remained there many days, Zedekiah the king sent and brought him out. And the king asked him secretly in his house, "Is there any word from the Lord?" And Jeremiah said, "There is." And he said also, "Ye shall be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon." I want to talk to the prophets today. And the title I want you to know is Passive Evil. Don't be silent. There is so many prophets out here that is walking in the way of King Zedekiah here. And we're going to discuss a little bit because there is time for the prophets to have a voice in this land. Prophets, you were not sent just to be held up in the four walls of the church. You was not sent just to go around and tell people they're going to get houses, cars, and land. But you were sent to represent the kingdom of Yahweh. You were sent to speak his very heart in the situations that's going on here on this earth. But a lot of prophets are silent because they don't know their role. And a lot of them is taking on titles that's too big for them. King Zedekiah, just like most kings in those days, they would change their name to represent what their administrative or what their reign is supposed to mean to the people. And King Zedekiah changed his name to Zedekiah, which literally means Jehovah is righteous, or the justice of Jehovah. So that means that when people called his name, they was calling for the justice of Jehovah. When people thought of King Zedekiah, they supposed to be thinking of the reign of justice of God. They was looking at this king to carry out the very plans and the very justice and the very righteousness of God in this land. But we see here that this king took on a name but didn't wear the title. How many of us is taking on names but not wearing the title? How many of us have the title in our hand and refuse to put it on our back? How many of us is carrying the title prophet, carrying the title apostle, but not wearing the very mantle of the prophet or the apostle? Just like King Zedekiah, we got the title, but we don't have the wearing. We're not operating in the very mission that our title is telling us to operate in. The reason why the kings would change their name is every time they hear their name, it's supposed to remind them of their mission. Every time they hear their name, it's supposed to remind them of why Yahweh put them on this throne. But we see that this king had a name that represented justice. His name supposed to mean that he was going to bring the very justice of Yahweh in the land. And I know that people had a whole bunch of hope inside of them when they heard this name. I can imagine it stirred the land up. Yes, true justice is going to reign. Yes, God's going to have his way now. Because when the king arose with his name and he presented to the people, I can imagine the people celebrated because they said this is going to be the very reign in his presence. He's going to make sure God will bring justice. What a great disappointment. Have you ever met a prophet and they hyped up the title prophet, but when you came in their presence, you was greatly disappointed? Oh, come on, tell the truth. There's some prophets you really want to tell them your title is too big for you. There's some apostles you really want to tell them you need to strip yourself of that title. Why are you carrying a title that you're not walking in the mission of? And I can imagine that the people were so excited because they felt justice have entered their land. So we see here that Jeremiah was put in prison. How many of you prophets don't know that you're here for this land? I've heard prophets say, I'm here only to do the will of the Lord, and that's good. You are here to do the will of the Lord. But the reason why you're still on earth is because of the people. Apostle Paul said, for me to die is my gain, but for me to live is your gain. Did you not know, prophets and apostles, that you are a gift to men here on this earth? That the whole reason why you have a mission, your mission is for the people here on this earth? You are supposed to be doing the Lord's will, but you're doing it for the people. I don't think you comprehend that. You are the voice of God for the people that cannot hear God. You are the one that's supposed to carry out the justice of God who don't know the justice of God. And there's some prophets that I have seen and came across that had the hype of the prophet, but didn't carry the mission of the prophet. And King Zedekiah, the justice of Jehovah. The idea is to have the name to motivate the people. How many of you switch your title to motivate your followers? You might be motivating them, but you have no mission with it. Zedekiah was characterizing his reign as king. This name was to be worn as a mantle. It was to be worn as a mission. It was his assignment. But this king did not follow through. And we see that this king did something that was very evil in the sight of Yahweh. And many people miss what was evil that he done. And the evilness that he did was the same that Eli had done. Watched sin take place and had no opinion for it. How many of you are watching sin take place and you took no side? The scriptures told us that you are lukewarm. How many of you are being spewed out of the mouth of Yahweh because you refuse to take side for good or evil? One of the biggest problems I see that's taking place in church in America is refusing to acknowledge what is good and what is evil. The scripture says, woe unto those that call good evil and evil good. But how many times we don't know what evil is, and yet we've called it good? How many times we don't know what good is, and yet we call it evil? We put our mouths on prophets and apostles, and they're good in the eyesight of Yahweh. And then we reign and we praise the false prophets. Do you not know you are in the most woe condition? There are woes of the Bible that people are walking in. Woe to those that call good evil and evil good. But here we see King Zedekiah couldn't do that. There are some people going to play it neutral. There are some people going to straddle the fence. There are some people just going to be lukewarm in every situation. They're not going to tell you what's good. They're not going to tell you what's evil. I have people that supposed to be apostles and supposed to be prophets, carrying the reign of Yahweh upon them, but can't tell me good or evil. I was praying for a situation, and I said, Lord, let your will be done. And he spoke so clear to me, and I had the worst chastisement from my God. But I thank him because he said he chastised those whom he